when things are going bad, don't get all bummed out. Don't get startled. Don't get frustrated. If you can say the word good, guess what? It means you're still alive. It means you're still breathing. And if you're still breathing, well, then hell, you still got some fight left in you. So get up, dust off, reload, recalibrate, re-engage, and go out on the attack.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another IronWill podcast with me, Shane Warner, and
John Chase.
So what this podcast is all about is we are trying to get stories from people that have been through a traumatic experience in their lives and came out a different person.
Yeah, they have all created an iron will. So what is an iron will? A burning determination that cannot be stopped or hindered by anything, willing to do anything to get a desired outcome, extremely resilient. So what we like to say is just keep punching.
Yeah. So sit back and relax, and we're going to start the show.
Blown up? Did you get shot? Did you get burned?
Yeah.
No, John just punched me a couple times.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I figured that could either be a birthmark or something like that, like burn or that.
Yeah, it's just a birthmark.
Okay.
And it's funny because when I was growing up, it was one of those things that it didn't define me, but it was one of those things that slowed me down because kids are just so ruthless. And then now, as it's funny how doing undercover narcotics and stuff like that, they told me there's no way you can do undercover stuff because of that birthmark. I'm like, hold my beer, watch this. You know,
Literally,
awesome.
hold my beer.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to make it happen. You know, and it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun, and I truly use it to my advantage now.
Yeah.
And, it was funny. I had a paramedic come up to me once while I was working. He's like, "Hey, I got to ask you a question." And you know, I've worked with this paramedic before on a number of different calls, and he's just like, "I got to ask you this question because my daughter's got a birthmark real similar to yours, but it's all over her entire arm." And I go, "Okay, cool." He goes, "What do I do about it?" I go, "Don't make a big deal out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Just keep her, keep it normal for her.
Yeah.
Make it like a normal thing, and make it so that she's special. And it's amazing how you're going to empower her."
The interesting thing about a birthmark like that is that's like the first thing people see.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I'm sure they have questions, and I'm sure a lot of people don't ask you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because
But they are probably like wondering what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and little kids are the best.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like moms are like, "Oh, don't ask him that." And I'm like, "No, don't,
Yeah.
no.
It's totally fine.
If they want to ask, let them ask because that's how they're going to learn stuff."
Yeah.
And literally, I'll sit on the floor face to face with them and let them touch it and feel it.
Sure.
And they're like, the moms finally they're like, "Thank you so much for doing that for him."
Yeah.
I'm like, well, the kid needs to learn, and it's amazing how just being open with it, all of a sudden, the amount of interactions I can have with
that's like
people.
me. Like I find like when I go to talk to, or if I'm around little kids or whatever, they like are more inclined to ask me what happened to me than like adults or whatever. And it's actually refreshing to not have people like try and guess what happened to you or whatever.
Yeah.
It's
crazy because it's like, man, it's so easy to ask people a question. You know, and the majority of people are so open to talking about what's going on in their lives. It's like, dude, just ask them.
Just ask.
Yeah.
You know, and
I think they don't want you to feel embarrassed because they may feel embarrassed for you.
Yes. Yep.
It's so interesting how we will stop ourselves from asking a question because we think that there's going to be an embarrassment involved.
Yeah.
And most of the time it's not. If somebody asks you, Shane, like, you're like,
No.
Don't ask me that. I don't want to talk about it. Get out of my face.
I will always tell them what happened. And like I said, I find myself being asked more by little kids than anyone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. But as a little kid, being asked, it's harder to deal with because you're also the kid. And you feel like, my daughter goes through this.
Yeah.
And it's harder for her to open up and talk about it.
I'm sure. But that's one thing that she can really use as a growing opportunity for her future.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So that's why when she talks to other people, I mean, I should have you talk to her, and stuff like that, because you've had that ever since you were born.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she pretty much, the stuff that happened to her started around 3, more noticeable around 5, and now she's 17. And she's dealt with it virtually her whole life.
Is there anything they can, like, any surgery or
there
whatever?
Is. The cheapest surgery for what she has is, I mean, you're looking at over $100,000.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't know if it's
that's
it's
all
truly
out of
going to
pocket or what?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because the thing is because it's not
it's
no
just
insurance
cosmetic.
will take it's cosmetic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's the thing. I've had 152 shots in my face because they did laser argon surgery to actually reduce.
Did it help it?
All this was actually all together.
Oh.
That was all kind of together, and
that's
the surgery itself actually made it separate and bring it a little further away from the skin surface.
so. Now I want to ask you, like, do you know what causes birthmarks?
Yeah, it's actually for mine, the port wine hemangioma. It's actually too much pressure in the uterus. So it's actually when you're in utero, there's a pressure point that is created, and then that brings the blood vessels in the skin wherever that pressure point is. It'll bring the blood vessels closer to the skin surface.
That makes sense.
And then literally all it is just blood vessels. Because if I pull like this, it's my normal skin color, but then the skin color comes back.
That's
interesting.
It's crazy.
It's that's a weird thing. I don't have a birthmark, and like I know more people have birthmarks than don't. And, and like it all caused the same way.
I'm not sure because like I've actually got 2. I've got one, a little brown one on the inside of my leg, which is what most people have.
Yeah.
But with this one, the common term is the port wine stain.
Okay.
And then
because it looks like port wine.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, wow, that was easy.
Easy.
That was a tough one for somebody to name.
Yeah.
But it cracks me up because it's just like one of those things where you just go, bro, it's just blood vessels that are too close to the skin causing too much pressure in the uterus.
Yeah.
That's literally what it's from.
Huh.
And when you sit there and look at it, it's like, dude, that's all it is. That's the only thing that makes it different. With the brown one, I have no idea really
how
that one's caused.
I'm sure it's something similar.
Yeah. And it cracks me up because
maybe there's somebody listening on our podcast that can answer that question at some point.
Yeah, if you're listening, dude, throw it in the comments. Let's hear about it because I'd love to know because I just don't have the time to actually research it.
Yeah.
Can you close that door, John?
Yep.
Okay. So I've been recording this whole time, but it was
good because that's good content.
Good conversation. But I'm gonna just introduce our today's guest. His name's Todd Nielsen.
Yep.
And he's a tactical instructor at Nielsen Training and Consulting. And the way I know him is through John Chase. Mm-hmm. And so John is going to kind of introduce him from what he knows.
Sure.
And then Todd is going to introduce himself. And so
we love that.
By time it's all said and done, we'll have a better idea of who Todd Nielsen is.
Perfect.
So I know Todd from, actually I met him first from one of my best friends, John Bush, who we're going to have on this podcast at some point too.
Yeah.
And it's just narrowing that down, the date that I can get him here. That'd be great. But you guys will hear about John Bush as well. But we actually live in the same community in Mapleton, Utah.
And all three of you do, right?
Yeah, we all live within probably within a mile.
Yeah, probably within a mile.
Yeah, of each other. So
Crazy.
yeah, I met him then. You guys, you're in for a treat. He's an inspiration.
Oh, yeah.
He's been through a lot of stuff and overcome a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Just like everybody on this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not downplaying anybody else's
just
story.
like everybody in life in general.
Yeah.
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 And this is just a story I feel like really needs to be out there. We've become good friends. I like to beat him up every once in a while. Just in the gym. I don't know if I could physically beat
he's
him
a
up.
big guy.
He's
so.
a big guy. And if there was a gun involved, I wouldn't stand a chance. Because that's his expertise.
Yeah.
But yeah, so tell us kind of, about yourself, what you do and all that.
Oh man, let's see. To kind of the general part, I'm a father of three. I have 3 kids, a son and 2 daughters. My son's currently on a mission in Kentucky.
Okay.
And then I have a 13-year-old daughter and a 7-year-old daughter. My 7-year-old daughter was an absolute complete surprise.
Yeah, I'm like, that's a big jump, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, literally, my wife said, hey, we're late. And I'm like, for what? Where are we going? And she goes, no, you idiot. I'm 2 weeks late. I'm like, oh man. Not even on my radar.
And what number was that? 7?
That was number 3.
Oh, okay.
She's 7 now.
Yeah, she's 7
okay.
now.
Yeah.
So I've got that. I was a cop for 25 years in San Jose, California. I absolutely loved that job. It controlled everything in my life.
Yeah.
I did narcotics, prostitution, fugitive apprehension, human trafficking, crowd control, pretty much every special assignment that I could get.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, bring it on. Let's do this.
So he's seen and gone through some pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah. And I think that one of the heaviest things is human trafficking, right?
Dude, that's
Yeah, and it's funny because when I was doing it, we just called it the sex trade.
Yeah.
Because doing the prostitution stuff and all that, there was so much stuff going on where girls we were kind of figuring out that there's like a trafficking stuff where girls were being placed from area to area.
And where were they taking them? Like to Mexico or what?
Oh no, we had girls that were being shipped in from other countries
okay.
here to the United States.
yeah.
And it's funny because we started out with just the street prostitution stuff, which was it's your classic, hey, girl standing on a street corner and that kind of stuff. And a lot of that led it always had a dope element to go with it. So the narcotic stuff and everything kept going with it. But then when we started to get real deep into some of this stuff, it's like, well, that guy's not just pimping; he's actually bringing girls and like.
And it's not just by choice because a lot of the prostitutes they choose to do that.
Oh yeah.
But then when you're talking about sex trafficking
and stuff,
this is like kids that are brought in at a young age.
Yeah.
And like this is all they get to do.
Right.
Like, they're not. It's not their choice anymore.
No.
Right.
That's why they need to be brought out of that. And you
Yeah.
started to recognize that. Okay, there's some deeper stuff going on.
Yeah, it's the amount of evil that is in that whole little world. It just drives me crazy because there's so much that people just don't understand, and it literally can be happening next door.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It could be happening anywhere. Like, it could be happening in your city.
Yeah. And a lot of the stuff that we were doing, it was based on the child pornography rings and stuff like that. Sure. I mean, literally, the thing that was like the most traumatizing for me is literally watching a video of a 2-year-old girl being raped by a grown man. And the screams, it just haunts me.
It's so sick.
I don't even want to think about that.
Yeah, and
the thing is with me not thinking about it, it's still happening. So
yeah, and the sad part is literally that happens hundreds of times a day. And I just wish the American people would wake up to realize that, hey, this literally could be happening next door. And the majority of stuff that we did, because it was kind of still in its infancy, was just looking at who's trafficking the videos, and then